Before we start this video, I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for supporting the last video. I asked for 50 to 100 likes and you guys smashed it out of the park and gave me 60 plus, which is a huge motivational push for me to do this video, so thank you very much. To continue supporting, go ahead and subscribe and turn on that post notification bell. Now let's stop wasting time and get into Demon Slayer Hashira Training Arc Episode 3. What if I told you that this episode was 99% anime exclusive? I bet you wouldn't believe me, but it's true. See, the chapter that this episode is based off is 132, and I'm not kidding here. Tanjiro spends a grand total of 5 panels training with Uzui. Talk about speedrun. And that's what I love about how Ufotable is handling this season, as this episode adds so much to the already established world and the events that happened long ago with Uzui and Tanjiro's character. So let's just run through the story. There's not much to compare to the manga anyways. I think, to be fair, it's best to run through the events of the manga panels. Tanjiro is finally happy to be able to start his training, so he runs in with a smile and much enthusiasm to be greeted by Uzui and his wives. Then in the next panel, it says Tanjiro got permission after 10 days of training. And if you watch the episode, I believe that they only showed us about 3 to 5 days of his training. I may be off here because I was a bit liberal when it comes on to the time, but either way, he gets permission pretty quickly. When the episode begins, we get Uzui whipping these maggots into shape, trying to get their stamina up for the next batch of training. Man, this shit looks grueling, but this is all necessary to strengthen the core. Then we get the opening sequence and the title card. Fully recovered, Tanjiro joins Hashira training, and in the background we see Uzui's symbol, which, as you know, means that Uzui will be prominent in this episode. Back into the mix, Uzui is a ruthless drill master, expecting only the best and pushing these demon slayers to their absolute breaking limit, mentally and physically. But then Tanjiro shows up and becomes their beacon of hope. By the end of it, they're all determined to train as hard as possible and to at least be able to support Tanjiro and the other Hashira as they battle against the Demon King. But for now, Tanjiro just shows up to say hi to Uzui, and immediately you can see how friendly they are to each other. But that doesn't mean that Uzui will be going easy on Tanjiro. Now, there are two dynamics at play here. Uzui has gone through years of grueling training at the hands of his sadistic father, already shaping him into the Hashira that he is today. And Tanjiro, we've seen coming from episode 2, has also gone through hellish training, life and death battles, and he has a mindset to always constantly improve to get stronger. So he's happy to train. So Tanjiro joins the ranks and shows these how it's done. He has much more experience than any of them, and he has the scars to prove it. At lunchtime, he meets Uzui's 3 wives, who are eternally grateful for him for saving and assisting Uzui during the Upper Moon fight in the entertainment district. The manga kinda swept it under the rug, but the anime didn't let us forget. It lets us know that there are indeed repercussions from it, and that these are human characters, and they remember what's happened to them, and they show much gratitude to Tanjiro, who reciprocates this by doing his best in training. It's here that Tanjiro realizes that Uzui is taking a little too much pleasure in his job to an almost sadistic level. But oh well, he eats, then back to training. Now this is where things get interesting. These 2 demon slayers are said to be going on patrol when we see something following them, which seems to be a small demon eye with the number 4 on it. Now we all know that Hantengu was the number 4, and if you didn't remember, here's a picture of him. But he's dead now. Could this be a piece of him or something? We do know that he had the ability to split apart, or maybe it's another demon with other abilities. Maybe he was replaced, who knows? This particular demon's ability wasn't actually seen until after training concludes, and I really love that they added it here, so the next time you see it, it won't be a surprise and it'll connect, unlike in the manga when it was pulled out of thin air. Now if you're really paying attention, this symbol looks familiar. You may have seen it somewhere before. That's because you may have seen it in the opening, and I'll do a specific breakdown for that when the video drops. I'll leave a link to it within this one. But for now, let's continue. On day 2, Tanjiro lifts this really buff dude, which is by no means weird. I don't think anyone could have ever beaten him at this because he's been carrying Nezuko on his back, even in fights, for the last 100 years. So he wins this challenge hands down. But then they ask him, what's it like fighting an upper demon? And if Tanjiro were the one to explain math to you, I'm sure you would fail. And he does do just that, failing at explanation. He's terrible at explaining this process to the trainees, who gets terrified. Oh, and this is a relief. Fight me. But no time to waste. Uzui issues a new training course and Tanjiro steps up. Just a reminder, a nice way that you can show me your support is you can go ahead and hit that like button. I'm looking for 50 or more likes on this video as well. Thank you so much for the support, and don't forget to subscribe. Back into the mix, we also see what happened between Gyu and Tanjiro when they had their eating contest, which was also about 1 or 2 panels in the manga. It seems that Gyu allowed Tanjiro to win, so he just joined the training, which he already agreed to, but Tanjiro had jumped the gun and challenged challenge him to an eating contest. If Tanjiro wins, Gyu has to train, and that's exactly what Gyu did to let Tanjiro win. During the midpoint cutscene, we get to see this image, which is an image a part of chapter 132's cover. Now back into it, we get a scene of Sanemi the Wind Hashira and Iguro the Snake Hashira having a quick meeting after their respective trainings, where they discuss their feelings about what happened, especially in episode 1 when they spotted a bunch of demons who just vanish. Iguro then says he has a feeling that something big is coming, and Sanemi has his back by saying, hey bro, don't even worry about it, we got this, now challenge me to a fight. Comment below who you think would have won this battle, the Snake Hashira or the Wind Hashira. No spoilers please. But we don't get to see this fight, instead we move on. Tanjiro is having a sit down with Uzui's wives, who gives him some tea for him to recover, and they tell him thanks again, as well as showing their gratitude to Peppa Pig and Pikachu for the help. The next coming scene is one of the best of this episode, where Uzui pretends to be a demon they encounter who tests their abilities. He takes out a few of them, and I'm sure if Tanjiro wasn't there, he would have defeated them all easily. But Tanjiro rallies their support, and they help to fight Uzui, after which they all voice their support for Tanjiro, and they will work hard to join him in the next training camp. So now comes the 10th day, where Tanjiro leaves for the next training site, which will be with Muichiro the Mist Hashira. At the end of the episode, we get our Taisho period secret that Uzui loves to go hunting for hot spring. Yay! And that's the end of the episode. A solid episode, fleshing out some stuff and going right in depth into Tanjiro's training, and I can't complain about that. Let me know your thoughts of the episode below, and thanks again for joining me, V Nation. I've been your host Kyle. Peace out and stay safe.